National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Hello, good evening. Coming to you live from the National News Studio. Welcome to the news. My name is Clifford Richards.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Sharifa Tahir. Let's take a look at the headlines.
The final rites of the late State Minister Sanat Nishant will be held next Sunday. The President and the former President visit the residence of the late State Minister to extend the condolences. The President says Birgama will be taken as an example to develop the entire country in the next few years. Search operations to find the 13 escapees of the Kandakadu camp. Committee report to resolve problems in the principal service has been unveiled. Reconstruction of the Ampara highway from Kebiliyamadua to Mahawe begins. 39 persons killed in a fire in Xinyu town in China. Chamariyata Pattu receives the award for the best ICC Women's One-Day Cricketer of 2023.
We move on to those and other stories in detail now. Let's take a look at local news first. Today is the Durutu Full Moon Poya Day.
Now, this day records many significant events in the history of the Buddha Sasana. And also numerous religious programs are being organized in viharas throughout the island in this connection, and that's with Durutu Full Moon Poya Day. Well, according to historical records, it was on a day like today that the Lord Buddha had overcome a group of Jatila Brahmanas. The taming of the Yaksha clan and also the construction of the historic Mahayangana Dagaba by depositing the sacred hair relics of the Lord Buddha were also reported to have taken place on a Durutu Full Moon Poya Day. In addition, Lord Buddha's journey to visit the Rajagahanuara with 1,000 Arahats, according to an invitation extended by King Bimbisara, also took place on a Durutu Poya Day. Other significant incidents of the day include the approval of the ritual of extending merit and Prince Sirisangabo ascending to the crown at the Mahayangana Chaitya. The Dharmadipani Poya Day Dhamma sermon organized by the Prime Minister's office took place at the Temple Trees this morning under the patronage of Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena. The sermon has been delivered by Senior Professor of the Faculty of Buddhist and Pali Studies of the Sri Lanka Bhikkhu University, the Venerable Pathigama Gnanisaratera. Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation is broadcasting a live religious program under the Sadharma Varsha Durutu Poya Day series from the Pugalla Sri Pushparama Vihara in Kithalava, Kuliyapitiya. The Durutu Mahaperahara of the Kalani Raja Mahavihara paraded the streets last night. The sacred casket of the relics was deposited on the back of the Kandula Tusker by the President of the Dayaka Sabha Vihara, Dr. Saman Veerasinghe. The event has been organized under the patronage of the Chief Incumbent of the Vihara, the Senior Professor Venerable Kollupitiya Mahinda Sangarakkithatera. A series of meritorious events extending blessings on the President and the country commenced at the historic Somavati sacred site this morning under the direction of Sirikota United National Party headquarters. The Mahasangha, headed by the custodian of the historic Somavati sacred site, the Venerable Pahamune Sumangalathera, General Secretary of the UNP Palita Rangi Bandara, and the Director General of the Presidential Trade Union Saman Ratnapriya also attended the event. Morning Kapruka Puja and the midday Sambuddha Puja were among the meritorious activities conducted at the sacred site.
The funeral of late State Minister Sanat Nishanta will be held at the Roman Catholic General Cemetery in Rajagahanuara on next Sunday. Sanat Nishanta has succumbed to his injuries in a motor accident on the Colombo-Katanayake Expressway around 2 o'clock this morning. The accident has taken place near the R11.01 kilometer post in the highway. The jeep in which the State Minister was heading towards Colombo from Kattunayake clashed with a container truck in the front travelling in the same direction. The police said after the collision, the jeep went off the road and hit the protective barrier by the roadside. Director of the Ragama Hospital, Dr. Liyage Ranavira, says the late State Minister was pronounced dead even before admission to the hospital. The victim has met with a tragedy when returning to Colombo after attending several functions last night. The police officer in charge of security of the State Minister was also killed in the accident. The driver of the vehicle is undergoing treatment at the Ragama Hospital. The magistrate inquiry into the death of Sanath Nishantha was conducted by Valisara Magistrate Dhammika Uduvevidana this morning. Thereafter, the body was handed over to the relatives. Minister Prasanna Ranatunga said that the incident has occurred after the late State Minister was returning after participating in ceremonies at the Australian High Commission and to attend 2 more ceremonies. The minister also said Sanath Nishantha's residence was set on fire on the 9th of May and thereafter he had no place to stay in Puttalam. Therefore, he was rushing back to Colombo. Parliamentarian Chamal Rajapaksa said that he has acted courageously representing Parliament. The late State Minister was a person who expressed his opinion bravely. The parliamentarian further said people of his calibre are rare today. Parliamentarian Sanjeeva Edirimana said that he has appeared on behalf of his political ideology, which he believed as true. He had always safeguarded his political identity. Sanath Nishantha, who had commenced his political career from the Northwestern Provincial Council representing the Puttalam district, had functioned as a minister as well. In the general election of 2015, he had entered parliament from the Puttalam district by securing the highest number of preferential votes. In the last general election as well, he had received the highest preferential votes in the Puttalam district. Several State Minister portfolios had been entrusted upon Sanath Nishantha since the year 2019. He was a father of 4 children and was 48 years old at the time of demise. President Ranil Wickremesinghe, upon receiving the news of the death of Sanath Nishantha, has arrived at his official residence and extended his condolences to the relatives of the family. The President has also given instructions on future activities. Thereafter, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa has also arrived at the official residence of the deceased and extended his condolences to the relatives. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa said that Sanath Nishantha was a person who came forward in every activity. He was committed to his party. The former president further said he had extended his services relentlessly throughout the island and especially in the outstations. The remains were brought to the Jayaratna funeral parlour this afternoon, where a large number of people's representatives have paid their last respects. The body is scheduled to be kept at the funeral parlour till 12:30 p.m. tomorrow and thereafter to be taken to Arachikattua. The vacancy created in the parliamentary portfolio due to the passing away of Sanath Nishantha is to be filled by Jagat Priyankara, who is next in line in the preferential list of Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has paid his last respects to the remains of late Sanath Nishantha, placed at the Jayaratna funeral parlour in Borala this afternoon.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe has underscored his commitment to guiding the country's progress in coming years, drawing inspiration from the success of Begama, reflecting on his early political career in the Begama constituency, where the region experienced notable underdevelopment. The President emphasized the positive impact of strategic economic decisions, particularly in the establishment of the Begama investment zone. He noted that Begama's rapid progress stands as a testament to those decisions. The President underscored his vision for replicating such success nationwide by leveraging the advantages of an open economy, expressed plans to establish new investment zones across the country with the aim of significantly boosting the national economy. The President made these remarks during the inauguration of the new constructed ancient Bodhi Prakarya. The Chief Sanganayaka of Japan, the Venerable Banagala Upatisthero, highlighted President Ranil Wickremesinghe's deep connection with Sapukhaskanda, describing it as a political stronghold and the place where he initiated his political journey. The Venerable Thero said that from his early days in politics to reaching the pinnacle as President, Wickremesinghe's ties with the area remain strong. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says in his political journey began there, culminating in the presidency through unconventional means. He also said that he assumed this responsibility when the government collapsed and there was a void in leadership, taking charge during a period of economic ruin, where people struggled for survival without essential resources like fuel and gas. He added that he felt compelled to step in, recognizing the imminent threat to the country. He assumed presidency with the conviction that he could rescue and rebuild our nation. 2 years have elapsed, and today we are steadily returning to normalcy with no shortages in sight. Rebuilding the economy posed challenges, but the country is making gradual progress. The President also said that during his visit to Switzerland, he informed the world leaders that Sri Lanka's once bankrupt economy has successfully rebounded and also rebounds, surprising many of the rapid turnaround. Engaging the heads of the World Bank, also the International Monetary Fund, Sri Lanka achieved economic stability, yet the nation's revenues remained insufficient. To address this, they must enhance the country's income, transitioning from a negative to a positive economic trajectory. To generate employment opportunities, it is imperative to establish new industries to investment prospects. Efforts are underway to cultivate a conducive environment for this purpose, and also plans to replicate successful models like Begama Free Trade Zone throughout the country, aiming to amplify the nation's economic growth tenfold. Begama serves as an illustrative example. Despite its initial lack of development, the belief in its potential for growth under an open economy prevailed, inspired by the success of the first investment zone in Katunayaka, initiated by the late President J.R. Jayawardena.
Commissioner General of Rehabilitation, Major General Darshana Hettiarachchi, says that the restless situation that has taken place at the Kandakadu Rehabilitation Camp in Valikanda last night is now fully under control. Nearly 100 inmates have escaped from the camp during the disturbing situation. A clash between two groups of inmates has resulted in the lawless condition. It has been reported that some of the detainees who fled has returned to the camp. The police has taken into custody 34 out of 47 detainees who fled and later returned. Upon our inquiry, the Commissioner General of Rehabilitation said the police and the army have commenced operations in search of the remaining 13 detainees.
Well, 838 more suspects have been taken into custody. 9 suspects have been enlisted in several criminal investigation reports. An Iranian national who was engaged in large-scale racketeering of the narcotic type Kush was apprehended by the Piliandala police station. It has been revealed that he was engaged in the fraud by acquiring a luxury 3-story house on a rental basis of 100,000 rupees in a housing complex in Kasbava. A woman engaged in drug racketeering of a narcotics dealer named Manna Ramesh, hiding in Dubai, was also arrested yesterday. The police have seized narcotics valued around 5 billion rupees. The culprit was produced before the Avisavila magistrate and was ordered to be detained until the 29th of this month for further interrogation. Police Special Task Force have also arrested a suspect with ice narcotics yesterday. The 32-year-old offender, a resident of Valigama, was apprehended in a raid conducted near the St. Benedict's grounds in Kotahena.
Reported the committee appointed to settle hitherto unresolved problems in the Principal Service has been unveiled. It includes several recommendations to upgrade the professional status of the Principal Service in line with the educational reforms. The report was handed over to Minister of Education Dr. Susir Premajantha by a committee headed by Professor Gunapala Nanayakara. The recommendations have been presented on 6 main issues. They are comprised of upgrading the Principal Service as an acknowledged profession, preparation of a national policy of the service, revision of the service charter to suit the future needs, and the implementation of educational reforms to secure the tasks of principals, to look into the responsibilities and accountability of principals, their salaries, privileges, and enhancement of skills. The report is scheduled to be fed into the website of the Ministry of Education, www.moe.gov.lk, with effect from the 1st of next month.
Well, the reconstruction of the portion of the Ampara-Uhana highway between Keviliya and Mahawaya has commenced today under the direction of Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena. Well, the inauguration ceremony was held in Mahawaya. The 52-kilometer road leads to Mahawaya town via Ampara and Uhana. The 32-kilometer section of the highway from Ampara to Keviliya has already been reconstructed. However, the 25-kilometer distance from Keviliya to Mahawaya is too narrow for vehicle transport. Reconstruction of the portion of the roadway from Bibila to Chenkaladi is also to be carried out through a $60 million loan from the Saudi Fund for Development. Upon completion of the reconstruction of this part of the highway, the remaining funds are to be utilized for the reconstruction of the Ampara-Mahawaya road. The total cost of the project is 2.97 billion rupees. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena says that the destructive and violent politically motivated murderers had destroyed houses of 72 parliamentarians and launched attacks on 800 public representatives. They have inculcated a culture of hatred and deception. The outcome had been the exposing large numbers of innocent people into violence. They had trampled the opinions of the people. In the recent history, both the LTTE and the JVP were engaged in such activities, he said. President Ranil Wickremesinghe addressing the 30th annual general meeting of the Lanka Confectionery Manufacturers Association yesterday at Cinnamon Grand Hotel Colombo emphasized the potential for Sri Lanka to become a global player in the confectionery industry.
He also encouraged Sri Lankan confectioners to expand their horizons and tap into international markets. The President emphasized the significance of positioning Sri Lankan chocolates as a world-class product similar to the renowned reputation of the country's tea and cinnamon. His encouragement aimed to inspire the confectionery industry to embark on a journey towards global recognition and market presence.
I have known many of you, seen you all grow, seen your hard days, seen your best days, and we have a vibrant industry. Where do we go from here? I think there is very little that you can expand here. But long ago, in 1978 or 79, I was in Petaling Jaya, and there was that Candos factory. And I think to myself, very good, we have got one factory out there. Now I think to myself, why can't we have many more factories? We have come through the worst economic crisis. We are not yet over. We have only negotiated to get time to pay another 20 years. That's not enough. Our balance of payment is not in our favor. Every year we'll have to borrow. If you go on like that, in another 10 years' time, what will happen will be worse than today. So now we've got to export. We've got to go out. So I think of myself, why not the confectionery industry? You have the potential. You can be good. So we've got to help you. Already we are discussing getting the lands. Some of the state plantations belong to the state. In Matale, Kandy, Mawatagama, Dodangaslanda to be given out for intercropping with cocoa. To look at the smallholders who are willing to intercrop. Monaragala, where there is scope for cocoa. I will discuss with some of your members. We have asked Mr. Charita Ratwatta to take over, identify and restart the cocoa growing project we had in 2018. That's not all. We are speaking with the government of Ghana and the government of Ivory Coast to get you access to cocoa, a special way. So this is the way that we can start off. But there's much more to be done. It's not only chocolates, it's not ice cream, it's not only biscuits. There are so many things to be done. So all the plantations belonging to the state will be leased out to Sri Lankan companies or Sri Lankan companies with foreign shareholders, all to be used, not merely to develop the crop, but to be used in the food industry. which includes confectionery, which is virtually all the lands owned by Chilau and Kurunegala plantation, plus what is there with Alcadua, with JDB and SPC. There will be other lands also that will be available, which we are looking at. We are having food security funds, which will be system A and B of Mahaveli, which is still to be tapped. But all modern agriculture, the best of agriculture. Secondly is the matter of competitiveness. We are establishing the National Productivity Commission. So if you have to have a competitive economy, our productivity has to increase. We are talking with India on upgrading the FTA into ECTA. So there are the non-tariff barriers we have to deal with. If you remove that, there's a good market for you there. Link up with your Indian counterparts. We are talking to Thailand. We already got FTA with Singapore. Talking of RCEP. A large amount of markets we want to break into. Bangladesh. So let's see how you can start. We will help you. But I always think this is an area in which we can make a breakthrough. It is, in my view, a low-hanging fruit. Not only confectionery, food is a low-hanging fruit for us. So just don't take in confectionery. Go into the other area. We are willing to back up research. We want to modernize the TRI, CRI, amongst others. About 8 billion rupees this year for research. I don't think you are going to use it for research and development. So there are many ways in which the government will line up with it. But we want an industry. We want a good industry. When I go abroad, I take with me the best of teas. It's world class. I take with me cinnamon. It's world class. How long before I can take chocolates and go?
Acknowledging the substantial contributions of pioneering founders and manufacturers in the confectionery industry to the development of the Sri Lankan economy, President Wickremesinghe presented awards to esteemed 8 individuals. Chairman of the LCMA, Dr. Samitha Perera, presented a special memento to the President. During the event, Samitha Perera expressed gratitude for President Wickremesinghe's substantial efforts in the economic recovery of Sri Lanka. He acknowledged the President's presence as a source of courage and strength for the industry's advancement. He appreciated the President's endeavours to uplift the nation and emphasized the industry's alignment with those efforts. This is the story of a 36-year-old destitute leprosy patient named M.A. Samantha Pushpakumara of Gallena Vatta, Galkiriya Gama.
And he's supposed to be traveling 50 kilometers every day on his bicycle, and that's to look after his mother. Well, the mother of Samantha has been ailing due to a serious illness for the past 25 years. It was due to the sheer efforts of his mother that he was able to come into the present state. Yet the family of Samantha still does not have any means of livelihood. Samantha Pushpakumara says he needs around 10,000 rupees each week to produce and procure medicine for his mother. And Samantha requests any benevolent person to help him in any way to help his ailing mother. Well, that's news at home. We'll be taking a short break and we'll be back soon with international stories.
වායු සමනය සෙල්සියස් අංශක 26 තබමු. අංශකයකින් උෂ්ණත්වය අඩු කළ විට 4%කින් විදුලිය වැයවීම ඉහළ යනවා. අඛණ්ඩ
Welcome back, and we are moving on to international stories, moving on to China. At least 39 people have been killed and 9 reported to have been injured in a fire that had started in a basement of a shop in the Chinese city of Hsinchu. Well, the blaze had broken out yesterday in the basement of shops in the city of Hsinchu. Foreign media reported that the rescue operation had concluded and there were no longer any people trapped in the building. More than 100 firefighters, police and the local government officials were deployed. Chinese President Xi Jinping has called for an investigation into the blaze.
A Japanese man has been sentenced to death for an arson attack at a Kyoto animation studio in 2019, which killed 36 people and injured dozens more. The incident is described as one of Japan's deadliest in recent decades, killed mostly young artists and shocked the anime world. Shinji Aoba, aged 45, pleaded guilty to the attack, but his lawyers had sought a lighter sentence on grounds of mental incompetence. Judges rejected this, however, ruling that Aoba knew what he was doing. Aoba himself suffered burns to over 90% of his body in the fire and was only arrested after he had recovered from operations. Japan retains capital punishment for its most serious crimes like multiple murders. Those convicted typically remain on death row for years or even decades. The death penalty is conducted by hanging. Police in Thailand have arrested a woman whose pet lion was pictured going on a joyride in the streets of Pattaya. A chained lion cub was being driven seated in the back of a white open-top car. It was being driven about by a Sri Lankan man who has since not illegal to own a lion in Thailand. It needs to be officially registered. Authorities in Thailand said that the lion was bought from a Thai man who successfully facilitated its delivery to Pattaya. However, he failed to have his facility checked by officials before doing so, which made both the transfer and the ownership of the animal illegal. She is therefore facing charges of possessing a controlled wild animal without permission.
Welcome back to the news, and moving on to the world of sport. The International Cricket Council ICC has officially announced today that Chamari Athapattu has been presented with the award for the best female cricketer in the ICC Women's One-Day Cricket for 2023.
Chamari Athapattu has been felicitated for the exceptional skills shown in one-day matches in the year 2023. She was able to collect 415 runs in 8 one-day matches. Chamari Athapattu has also given leadership to the Sri Lanka one-day team in the one-day series against Bangladesh. She has led the team towards a 1-0 victory against Bangladesh and later on to a 2-1 victory in another one-day series against New Zealand. Chamari Athapattu was also entrusted with captaincy in the T20 and one-day teams announced by the International Cricket Council for the year 2023.
Delighted with that as she...
And Pakistan and the West Indies have registered victories in 2 matches in the Under-19 World Cup one-day cricket tournament in South Africa yesterday.
The West Indies team has scored a 4-wicket victory against Scotland. The Scotland team batting scored 205 runs with a loss of 9 wickets at the end of 50 overs. The West Indies team has reached the victory target of 206 runs at the end of 35 overs with 4 wickets in hand.
Faisal, just over.
And there it is in the gap. This win, and what a gem of a knock it.
In the match against Nepal, Pakistan has also secured a 4-wicket victory yesterday. The Nepalese team were all out for 197 runs at the end of 50 overs. The Pakistan team has fulfilled the target of 201 runs, losing only 5 wickets at the end of 47 overs.
Beautiful match-winning 63.
Well, that's it on the news. Do enjoy the rest of the programs together with Sherifa. This is Clifford, wishing you a good night.
Good night.
Stay safe.